All right, let's jump right into this explainer. I want you to think about a scenario that plays out literally every single day, and I guarantee you probably never even realize it's happening. We interact with our digital spaces constantly, but there's this massive hidden layer operating just beneath the surface.
Right now, out there in the ether, there is an email that was written specifically for you. Someone actually sat down, typed it out, and hit send. That message traveled across the vast infrastructure of the internet, reached your email provider, and was successfully delivered. But you will never actually see it. Because somewhere between them clicking sent and your phone buzzing, a machine read it first, and it decided you shouldn't. It's kind of an unsettling premise, right? An invisible filter just intercepts your mail and acts as a silent gatekeeper before a message ever has the chance to reach your eyes. Part 1. The Hidden Inbox Editor. So to really get this, we've got to shift our thinking away from the idea that this filter is just a basic net catching simple junk mail. We think we understand this system, but it is doing so much more than just taking out the trash.
You see, the filter doesn't just block the obvious scams at the top. Those cheap, "you've won a cruise" pop-ups or fake invoices. It's actually making a highly complex judgment call on every single email you receive, including the absolutely crucial ones. It silently intercepts job interview invites, medical appointment reminders, and even genuine messages from old friends trying to reach you.
I mean, think about it. How many times have you heard or said, "Hey, did you check your spam folder?" It's universally recognized. But if you take a step back, the fact that we say this so casually to one another is actually proof that we've just accepted a highly flawed, unpredictable system that is actively curating our reality.
So how does the filter actually read your email to make these massive decisions? Naturally, you'd assume the machine opens the message, scans the text, and looks for obvious spammy words. But the reality of modern computing means the machine absolutely doesn't process messages the way we assume it does. Which brings us to part 2, judging the sender. Let's peel back the technical layers here, because how modern inbox gatekeeping actually works today is just fascinating.
Okay, so decades ago, we used these really crude rules. They block banned words like free. But spammers are smart, right? They adapted almost overnight by just spelling words differently. F-R-E-E with spaces or extra characters. So to survive, the filter had to completely abandon simple keyword reading. It literally stops reading the words entirely and starts judging the sender instead. Industry experts call this sender reputation. Think of it like a credit score, but invisible. It's attached to the sender based on their history, how often people actually open their emails, and these quiet, behind-the-scenes cryptographic handshakes that prove they are who they say they are. If a sender fails these invisible checks, or if their historical score drops too low, they're flagged and blocked before a single word of their email is ever even read.
But here is the truly mind-bending reality of machine learning. Millions of strangers trained your filter. Every single time some random person marks a message as spam, the machine learns. Every time millions of people ignore a certain kind of email, it learns. You never sat down to explicitly train your inbox. Your personal feed is actually being shaped by the clicks, the deletes, and the report spam taps of millions of people you will literally never meet.
Part 3. The Silent Delivery Twist. Let's look at the most unnerving behavior of modern filters, how they completely mask their own actions from both the sender and the receiver.
Years ago, if an email was blocked, old filters would bounce it back with an error message. But the new ones, they accept it and hide it. So the sender just sees a nice green checkmark, delivered, no error whatsoever. But what do you see? An empty inbox. No notification, no receipt. The person who emailed you thinks you ignored them, and you think they never wrote. Both of you are totally in the dark. So the crucial takeaway here is that a hidden email and a deleted email look identical from the inside. This machine makes a concrete decision about your life, your opportunities, your communication, and then it completely erases the evidence that it ever made a choice at all. And hey, you can't question a decision you never knew was made, right? Which naturally leads us to ask, so what happens when this invisible editor picks a side? Because when you scale up unaccountable systems to cover billions of inboxes, the stakes get incredibly high.
Part 4. When systems show bias. What actually happens when these algorithms operate at massive scale? To really understand this, we're going to look at a major, peer-reviewed experiment run by researchers at NC State University during the 2020 election. Now, the methodology here is vital to note. First, the researchers built brand new, totally clean email accounts on the major services. Next, they funneled thousands of genuine campaign emails from both major political parties into those accounts. And finally, they just sat back and observed where the machine silently sorted the messages. This setup was absolutely crucial because it meant there were no human preferences baked into the accounts. These were just fresh digital slates testing a raw, algorithmic system.
And the data they captured was pretty remarkable. For Party A, the system diverted 77% of their emails straight to the spam folder. But for Party B, it only diverted 10%. These were identical, fresh accounts, yet they yielded a wildly lopsided fate for the two parties.
But, and this is the research's most crucial caveat, really the core of why this all matters, no one chose the bias. The machine learned it. There was no deliberate intent here. No evil engineer pulling levers behind a curtain to suppress a party. The algorithm simply learned a lopsided rule from overall crowd behavior and applied it silently to everyone. Nobody decided to be unfair. The system just kinda became unfair on its own.
Which brings us to Part 5, the necessary trap. We need to pivot for a second and explain why, despite these terrifying invisible flaws, we are all entirely locked into using this system.
Consider this number for a second. 46.8%. Nearly half of all email sent on planet Earth is spam. And we're not just talking annoying newsletters. That includes vicious malware, phishing, and highly sophisticated scams trying to drain your bank account. It is literally an ocean of digital garbage.
Then you have to factor in the sheer scale of it all. 15 billion. Just one major provider alone blocks roughly 15 billion unwanted messages every single day. 15 billion! To put that in perspective, if we were to just turn the filter off because we were worried about algorithmic bias, your inbox would be completely unusable within hours. The gatekeeper isn't just helpful, it's an absolute necessity.
And right there, that is the real trap we find ourselves in. The scariest filter is actually the one that is so good, so quiet, and so trusted that you completely stop checking what it hid. Because the system is so incredibly necessary to keep our inboxes functioning, we stop questioning it. We just allow it to silently curate our digital reality without any oversight whatsoever.
So, if handing your trust over to an invisible algorithm means it leaves absolutely no trace when it makes a mistake, what have you already missed?